Well, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? Cool. I got myself a Spyderco the other day, and yeah, this is the Resilience. As the blue handle suggests, yeah, this is one in S35VN. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to get some thoughts out there on this. First off, I do kind of think it's a bit of a poor man's version of a Spyderco military, not the paramilitary, but the standard one. The one they absolutely refuse with every fiber of their soul to put a compression lock on. So, just like this guy, that guy, the military is also a liner lock. But yes, this is over a 4-inch blade. Not a huge amount over, but over a 4-inch blade. And so what I'm noticing with this is I don't really like the handle all that much on it. And it's kind of interesting. And the best thing that I can really compare the thing to, yeah, it's probably a little smudgy, is my Spyderco Endura here, which is obviously the, I don't know, a little bit more well-known cousin to it. These ones are manufactured in their China facility. These are manufactured in Seki City, Japan for them. And yeah, so I didn't think I was going to mind the handles all that much because I really don't mind the bidirectional texturing on these, on the Endura and the Delica 4s. However, the handle on this thing, for me, nowhere near as comfortable as something like the Endura is. And I think that comes down to the fact that we don't have nested liners here. They have steel going out there, which means you really do feel the edge here on the handles. Whereas they do technically exist here. They're a little bit more rounded off, but they also, you know, contour over there, so you don't really have that going on. The other thing that I've noticed is this thing is, you know, quite nice in the standard saber grip. But because of this raised bump here, whereas it's generally kind of carved out a little bit on the others, if I really want to grip that in a hammer grip, it really fights me, and it's not super comfortable to do that. Never really thought about that until I actually got one of these in my hand. But yeah, just a little different out there. I don't know. I mean, obviously, using it in that saber grip or pinch grip or something like that is generally how I end up using a knife. But you have that extra length, so if you really do want to put some nice pressure on there, this one just doesn't really do it for me quite the same way. It's kind of unfortunate. This is an Eric Glesser design. But he's also done one of like my absolute favorite knives of all time, the Manix 2. Or at least in this case, the Manix 2 XL. So I definitely know he knows his stuff, but yeah, I do also know that these knives are certainly made down to a price. And yeah, this is the upgraded one over the 8CR13, which, I mean, even if Spyderco does it, that steel's not my favorite at all. It's easy to maintain, but you're going to be doing it every day, so I don't particularly like that. But having the S35VN on this is kind of a nice upgrade there. It was sharpened quite well when I got it. I did end up putting my own edge on there a little bit after the fact, which is a 15-degree edge, which really didn't change much. It was already ground pretty high to begin with, so I mostly just ended up polishing it up. And it was actually very, very easy to do, which does worry me just a little bit. Out towards the tip, it was just a little bit more difficult. But this is one of a few knives that I've had in S35VN. And yeah, this one gave me a lot less trouble than the other ones did. Another one being, of course, the Cold Steel Frenzy. I don't remember if this is Frenzy 2 or 3. I don't know, whatever. It's the black and blue colorway for it. And I think the other one was also a cold steel, that being a little slip joint here, if I can find the little sucker. And it is little. Yeah, here we go, the lucky one. Yeah, that's an S35VN. And, well, I mean, this one is obviously different. It's not made in Taiwan like that Frenzy was. This one was made by an Italian maker. They've never really specified which one. Could be line steel, could be any one of the other MKM subsidiaries or participants or any of that sort of stuff. But yeah, this one seemed a little bit easier to do. And that does worry me a little bit. As I had mentioned probably in the past that a lot of you are familiar with. This one in particular is the Spyderco Manix 2 and CPM M4. And this one, at least my particular example, has awful heat treat. And, well, it is frustrating because this is a dealer exclusive, which means I don't really have a whole lot of warranty kind of things, much less, poor heat treat. Not really covered under any knife maker's warranty as far as I'm aware. So yeah, I do definitely want to put this thing through its paces, because even though this is, one of their Chinese-made Spydercos, which is a slightly step up from their Byrd designs, this is still over $100. So I definitely want to make sure that this thing actually works correctly. Otherwise, I'm getting a little upset with Spyderco. I mean, they were my jam way back in the day, but they've let me down a couple of times, and I'm feeling kind of sad for it. That and most of them that end up getting a lot of the coverage and love these days are the ones out of their Taiwan manufacturing, which means you're spending $400 to $600 on most of them, which I'm also not interested in doing. So yeah, I suppose there's that. But overall, I do like the length of it. The hole's actually just a little bit smaller than I thought. It's exactly the same as it is on the Endura, but for whatever reason, I thought it was just going to be just a little tiny bit larger. Still works perfectly fine. It has a bit of grip on there. This thing, obviously, just like this guy here, is running on brass washers. So no particular amazing action out of that, as you can see. And yeah, because it's, over 4 inches, you can swing it closed fairly aggressively. However, this one is sharpened very much to the end. So that thing that most Spyderco people do where they drop a knife and do that, well, you can't do that on this one. It will bite you. So definitely keep that in mind, I suppose. I mean, for the most part, if I'm closing a lockback like a Spyderco, I end up just doing it that way. I don't do a drop usually. That's just always seemed a lot more comfortable. Well, it would really help if I'm actually in frame for that. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to cover with that. I wanted to compare it a bit with the Endura. Yes, it's larger, but they don't really make something larger than the Endura. Well, they kind of do if you consider the police. But even that is just a little tiny bit smaller than this. It's a big knife, but it has a swell in the middle that, for whatever reason, fights me when I want to actually grab that up there. It's not... Yeah, it just kind of bothers me overall. I don't know. Like the... Paramilitary 2. This thing comes out of the box with it mounted tip down. Not my favorite, so I changed it on this one. This one I left stock. Whatever. I mostly use this for comparisons these days, not necessarily carrying it day to day. But yeah, clip is it's probably going to end up bothering me quite a bit. It's designed quite a bit like, well, shoot, I don't have one on there. Let's see. Oh, I do. I have an original one here on my Matriarch 2 that uses the same one that you would get on here. I lost the original one on there, so this is a Lynch clip. But yeah, so this one, you can see we have the 3 mounting holes right up top here. This one has that spot there in the middle. I understand that's for the lanyard hole on the back and or to make room for the pivot on the front. But as I've experienced with this really weird little guy, the captain here, which this clip is not interchangeable with that, unfortunately. But still, as you can see through the weird little wearings there, this clip also had a hole in the middle. And that means that it's much more fragile along both of those lines, which is exactly what happened to this one. Something that doesn't really happen on the rest of their pocket clip designs. So, yeah, I understand why they do it, but I'm not exactly convinced that this is going to be a design that, a clip design that ends up standing the test of time, and it will probably get jacked up at some point. But it also, you know, really depends on how and or where you're actually carrying it. For me, like with that captain, I ended up breaking that clip off when I was working in kind of a cramped warehouse situation with a whole bunch of boxes around that would catch my clip and things like that, which is something that, you know, also worries me when a clip is mounted onto my Carta or something like that. Because, yeah, if it catches on there, it's probably going to do some ugly stuff. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to get some thoughts out there on this thing. It is interesting how it's sharpened all the way back there. So you can get right up behind there and give that some power. You don't have this large area here that's separating you. Or on a lot of the other ones, the choil that you would get right up behind there. I do like the plunge grind there. Obviously, Spyderco does not believe in sharpening choils. So this thing, as well as all the rest of them, don't have one. That's, you know, why you end up with this funky looking kind of thing going on here at the end. Not necessarily something that particularly bothers me on these, because, hey, that's just part of the weird aesthetic, the dead bird aesthetic that Spyderco has going for it. But yeah, hopefully this thing ends up cutting relatively well, even though it was relatively easy to sharpen. So we'll have to see on that particular front. But if you are kind of thinking of this is obviously the largest one out there, the Resilience, but they also have the Tenacious, which is a little bit smaller version, you know, a little normal sized. And, oh, there's another Schuss. Not Tenacious. Shoot, yeah, there's a smaller one on there too. But yeah, if you are kind of thinking about these guys, do keep in mind, ergonomically, they're not quite as good as, you know, the other ones that they were kind of designed to mimic a little bit. They're just a little rougher around the edges and all that stuff. And I suppose that makes sense, having them being manufactured in China, much more to a cost point than their other knives. So, alrighty. Yeah, this was a fun little video for some things that I just recently got in. I have another one coming up with a couple others here, just kind of getting some thoughts and opinions out there on them. But yeah, alright. So, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. Subscribe, please.